Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to your July 2021 Energy Update. This is Alyssa Rushton, and if you're back, welcome back. And if you're here for the first time, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you can get notifications when we do new videos. And if you're on the gram, be sure to share us in a story and share this with your friends because it helps, and it helps them feel like they're supported by you. Okay, let's talk about the 5 main energy themes for this month that are coming down. And again, this reading is for empaths, intuitives, sensitives, and amazing people like yourself. So this isn't a general reading for the collective. This is very specifically to you who I would call on the journey of spiritual awakening. And so with this month in particular of July, you're going to notice a distinct shift from the energy of the last 6 months. And in June, let me just back up for a moment and talk about June, because many of you in June had what I would call that moment of your worst fears being realized, or at least coming up. And I'm talking about really difficult fears. Many of you, this was around health. Some of you had family members that were either on the brink of passing or actually did pass. And with that happening, it actually brought up a lot of our worst fears to process and deal through. Some of you had this happen around your money or your business. Some of you yet had this happen around relationships. So the energy of that in June was really there to support you in being able to see that fear fully and completely on a level at which you haven't seen it and been able to deal with it before, and really going to that place where you're doing a lot of self-parenting and giving yourself the love that you needed to get through this. And what that's going to do in July is allow you to be in a much different space with it. So in July, you're sort of looping back around again to spiral on up. So it's gonna seem like you're visiting the same place again, but you're literally spiraling up and up and up. So what this is gonna help you do is really take new actions based on your new awarenesses, based on what you know is right for you now, based on what you learned in May and June. And you're really in this new place of seeing it again, but from a very higher, distinct perspective of more soul growth, more expansion, more learning. And odds are you are able or have just come out of a cycle of healing the deepest, most core wound that you've had really in this lifetime so far. So we're looping back to spiral up, and you're really starting to take new inspired actions. You're starting to even go about your way of life in a different way. For many of you, I'm seeing this when you're looping back on something, you almost are setting aside ways that you've always done it, or ways that you have always known yourself. For example, let's say that you've always done your health a certain way, and you've always had a certain idea about your health and your self-identity. And you might have been in this place where, let's say you've been battling your weight for more years than you can imagine, and you've tried every diet in the book, and you've tried every way to get healthy, but something about this last June has looped you back around to where it's almost like you've had an identity rewiring, where you realized the ways in which you created this body that was maybe not as healthy as you wanted, or maybe had more weight than you wanted, was a completely false identity. And so this July, you're going to start to be able to create your new identity based on all this old learning. So I hope that makes sense, and it's a really fun energy. But I do want to say, for those of you who are watching, whenever we loop back on something to spiral up, you can have the feeling of, this again? I'm dealing with this again? But what is really a main theme of energy of this month is you have the ability to cultivate and create whatever feeling you want in any experience. And that'll be a theme throughout this whole energy reading. So just keep that in mind as you go through this month, that you literally have the ability now to cultivate and create any feeling you want, no matter what the outside circumstances may be at that time. So looping back to spiral up, then choosing contrast with consciousness. So how I'm seeing this is, for example, maybe you have a job right now and you feel kind of out of alignment with that job. You know it's not what your soul is wanting you to do. And yet there's a part of you that knows that if you consciously choose this contrast, meaning that you're choosing what it is that you may not want or prefer, when you consciously go into this, you can then have additional learnings. Sometimes you learn the best when you're learning through contrast. For example, have you ever taken a class to, let's say you were learning to become a yoga instructor. Have you ever taken a class from a yoga instructor and you literally go into the class and it's the worst yoga class ever? And you think to yourself, I will never do this and this and this and this, and I'll never be mean to the students, and I'll never bring my energy to the mat. You learn so much sometimes through these contrast experiences. So many of you in July are going to have the opportunity to consciously choose that contrast. And when you do so, what's really cool, and I always go back to the coin, is, you know, you're holding this flip side, this tail side of the coin that you might not prefer, but you're able to hold it lightly from the outside. You're able to hold it from that place of, hey, it's no big deal. I can cultivate and learn from this experience. I can cultivate any feeling that I might like to have from this experience. And in doing this contrast, I can become more of myself. I think what's, for me, what's really important to remember about energy is it is a spectrum of energy. And while we might assign meanings like good, bad, light, and dark, whenever you allow yourself to hold more spectrum of light, more spectrum of energy, without a judgment, without a need to to change it in some way, just to hold that energy and hold it in a place of, I see it all as divine, you then can have a vastly different experience with the world. And we talked a lot about this in my last workshop last month called Radiance, which, by the way, you can still get the recording of. It's a 4-night channeled workshop. And in that workshop, we talked a lot about how, seeing everything in its divine state really allows you to have a different experience. It allows you to clear your body vessel of judgment. And it allows whatever's on the outside of you to up level, to be re-seen and re-known in some way, and to change if it's ready to. So it's a very powerful thing, you choosing contrast with consciousness, knowing that you will learn and grow from whatever that contrast is. And it doesn't have to be good or bad, light or dark. It can just simply be contrast. Just like living in Hawaii, there's so much contrast. In Hawaii, you've got the lava fields, which I think are super yummy, and then you've got the palm trees and the green. It's a beautiful contrast of energy, of light. And if you were to go, ooh, lava, bad, or ooh, palm trees, bad, then you're gonna obviously have a different experience than if you just said, wow, it's beautiful, and look at this contrast. So that's the energy that's really coming in July. We'll probably see on the collective scale some pretty big contrast coming in, and some people that are not choosing that contrast consciously may have some really different experiences than you. So there might be also some holding space for those people in your family who might not be at the consciousness level that you are at, maybe some people at your workplace, and just holding them in a space of unconditional love as they move through that contrast as well, that they might not feel that they consciously chose like you did. Let's see what else. This month specifically, there's a planetary alignment, and without all the astrobabble, which you know I'm not into, there's two planets in particular that are meeting up in the sky, and it's really activating this super heart expansion. And I'm seeing this as the masculine and the feminine parts of yourself coming into full alignment. You know, we all hold masculine and feminine. We all hold light and dark. And so it's like these parts of you really coming into full being matched. And it's this heart activation where you're moving into more love, more expansion. You might see this through your family. You might see this with your friends or a lover or a spouse. This really beautiful bringing it together. And what this is really all for is light. The heart space and the light is starting to become attractive. There's a switch that's happening where more and more people are gravitating towards coming from the heart, moving from the heart, feeling their heart first before they use the mind. You know, the mind is just a very small portion of how we understand life, and the rest of your body is actually a supercomputer. You actually hold so much memory in even one of your tiny little cells. Your whole body, you know, we could take one of your cells in the DNA in your cells, and that's a remembrance of both you, your physical body, your parents, your grandparents. So we have to remember that there's so much memory and so much knowledge and instruction in our physical body, specifically our heart. And that's starting to become more online. It's starting to become more attractive. You're probably noticing that people who maybe outwardly don't have the physical traditional beautification things that we might have been programmed into seeing, but because they're so radiant through the heart, you're finding that to be the most attractive. I heard a 15-year-old say the other day, she said, you know, I'm really noticing that a woman can be very beautiful, but if she's not beautiful on the inside, if she's not speaking with kindness, if she's not being loving towards herself, it's quite hard to look at. And so I love that the kiddos are really knowing that this heart activation coming from the heart is really starting to be where we're all tuning into. And there's a lot of really beautiful heart-based energy coming on board this July and through the rest of this next 3 years. So feel into that and ask yourself, you know, how could I be even more heart expanded? What are the ways where I could show more of my heart? How could I show up more authentically as myself without needing all the outside stuff to make me who I think I am and radiate out my light through my heart and see, you know, how I'm noticed and perceived in the world? It's a really fun thing to play with. Let's see, the next energy up is expecting the unexpected. This July is sort of that wild card energy month where for many of you, this might mean things like inheritances, gifts of money, winning the lottery. It's that unexpected energy coming in, and it feels really supportive for most of you, right? It feels like I don't believe in rewards, but it feels like it's your time. The energy's here for you. And when you attune your energy to expecting this beautiful, unexpected gifts from the universe, unexpected bounty your way, whatever it is that you've been wanting, remember that it wants you too. And so the more you align yourself with that energy that's already here for you, it's like a key in a lock. It can turn and the door can open. And that's one of the things I notice with my private clients the most is if they will align with the energy that's already present for them, it's the key in the lock, the door pops open, and the unexpected can happen. Whereas if your energy system is in resistance to what's right there for you, the door doesn't open. Does that make sense? So really getting yourself into a beautiful alignment of this month, I expect beautiful, unexpected blessings and gifts and love into my life. I expect beautiful bounty and delicious new things that I've been wanting to come into my life, and just be in positive reception of that. There's a very strong energy there for you this month around the unexpected things. And on the collective level, I do get the sense that there will be some rather unexpected things that are acting more as a shakeup for people. But for you who are watching, I suspect that you might be on the other end of this energy spectrum. So just really tuning your energy into that, honing that in for yourself, and being in positive expectation will really serve you well. Let's see. July is also a very big time to redirect your energies and get moving in action. So the planetary alignment support this, but this is a month of having more responsibilities per se that are in alignment with your soul's mission. So again, in June, you probably saw a lot of the stuff that was not working for you. And this is your opportunity to be in more alignment with your actual responsibilities. Many of you, I suspect, have been having quite a lot of dualism or even tripleism in your life, meaning for some of you, this could look like, well, I want to live, in Hawaii and Costa Rica, or I want to live in a beautiful mansion and I want to go on the road once a month. You might have been living your life in sort of this dualistic way, some of you tripleistic sort of a way. That might also have been in your business. Maybe you have been in the place of thinking, well, I want to be doing these things in my business, but I also want to be helping my family in this way. So this dualism is starting to kind of calm down, and you've integrated a lot of the learnings that has come as a result of this dualism or tripleism. And in many of your cases, you've been really doing a lot of different things, and you're really starting to refine your preferences, your soul's mission. You really, I think for many of you, you know it with a capital K-N-O-W. You know it without anything getting in your way. And you'll also realize that if I stay on the run from this, it will continue to come and get me. It's that looping back to spiral up. It's not going away. You just know that this is what you're here to do. So you can ask yourself some really powerful questions like, what were you built for? Think back to when you were a kiddo. What is it that you were built for? Did you have any special training or education? Did you have any sort of learnings that were really evocative of what your soul is here to do? Ask yourself, what were you built for? Ask yourself, what skills do you have that you just love to use? That when you use those skills, you feel lit up, time just passes, it feels very natural to you. What do you do that makes you happy, that brings you joy? And start imagining a way, if you don't already know it, to start to bring all of these things together. Journal them out, write them down. It really is helpful as you start to reimagine your new self. For many of you, you are redirecting your energies, and you can do this best by reimagining this new you. If there's something that I feel has really happened over the last year and 6 months, it's that you have been able to really truly recognize what you're here for and what you may not be here for. And you really know what lights you up versus what doesn't light you up. For many of you, you've been even telling me that being in nature and finding ways to do your business in nature is really important to you. And yet there's others of you who are wanting to lean more into technology and lean more into advancements and things of this nature. So remember, there's no right or wrong. It's just about you and your soul's mission and what you personally are here for. So these are some of the questions you can ask yourself. Where do you want to put most of your energies now? If you have been in that dualism a lot, where now would you like to put your energies? And I'll give you an example. So for those of you that think, well, I'd love to live in Schenectady, New York, and I'd also love a home in Jamaica. Well, now it seems like you want to live mostly in Jamaica. Now it seems like you're finally ready to make the move. You're finally ready to align your energy system with what it is that you really want instead of having your energy split. And here's the thing with reality creation and creating your life and moving with energies is, at the end of the day, your subconscious mind is what creates a lot of your reality. Your beliefs are what creates much of your reality. You can see this all over the internet. In fact, people are having many vastly different beliefs, and whatever their belief system is, that's very true for them. So what you want to do is get your subconscious mind, your belief system on board with the identity of you. If your identity is someone who lives in Jamaica full time, great. Imagine yourself being in Jamaica. Align your energies with being in Jamaica. If your identity of who you'd really love to be is somebody who's making a difference in your community and doing all these amazing community events, great. Get your subconscious mind aligned with pictures of that and what living that life looks like. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It just matters your ability to do that thing. Whatever that thing that you want to do is, has to have your subconscious mind on board and the pictures that you're making. So let's wrap this up. Again, the 5 energies for this month that you're really working with strongly is looping back to spiral up, choosing contrast with consciousness and really being able to see every particular energy as the divine, as a piece of the divine, connecting in more with your heart, connecting in more with the fact that light is more attractive now than ever before, and expecting the unexpected in the most positive ways for you, really aligning to surprises and delights from the universe. And then lastly, redirecting your energies and redirecting your subconscious mind, your self-identity for what it is that you truly want. Okay, well, I hope you loved this video. Again, feel free to like it and be sure to share this with your friends or share it on a story. We love that so much. Be sure to tag us. And thank you guys so much for being here. I love you. Have the most amazing July and bye for now.